Alright men, let's cut the bullshit. You've been force-fed a diet of sentimental nonsense and politically correct fairy tales about female desire. You walk around radiating a frequency of desperation, a stench of weakness, wondering why the women you truly want give you the cold shoulder. You're paralyzed by the fear of rejection, of being seen as a weak, easily manipulated fool. Today, we're ripping off the blindfold and exposing the raw, unvarnished truth. We're talking Machiavelli applied to the most primal of human interactions, female desire. How women really decide if you're worth their time, their energy, their buddy. This isn't about cheesy pickup lines or hollow motivational platitudes. This is about a cold, hard truth, a profound shift in your internal operating system. If you're tired of feeling like you're playing emotional chess blindfolded, consistently checkmated by forces you don't understand, if you're tired of watching high-value women slip through your fingers while you radiate insecurity, then buckle up, because this isn't merely about getting laid. It's about reclaiming your inherent masculine power, mastering the mental game that governs all attraction, and becoming the high-value man women instinctively crave, not just for a night, but for the respect you command. Ignore these uncomfortable truths, and you'll remain trapped in a cycle of frustration and manipulation, a perpetual supplicant in a world where only the strategic, the self-aware, the powerful man truly wins. You've been sold a lie. The lie that female desire is a fragile, delicate whisper, easily offended, something to be tiptoed around. That's a myth perpetuated by those who want you to remain powerless, a compliant puppy, instead of a wolf. The truth is, female desire, when truly ignited, is a force of nature, voracious, primal, and insatiable. This isn't about polite interest. It's about a deep, ancient current that flows beneath the surface of polite society, a profound hunger for masculine strength and direction. Women are not passive recipients. They are active, discerning beings, constantly scanning for true power, for leadership, for the man who can navigate their internal landscape with precision and unshakable confidence. They're not looking for a gentle breeze. They're looking for a storm that excites them, challenges them, and commands their very essence. Your inability to grasp this fundamental truth leaves you vulnerable. You approach them with timidity, with an apologetic air, and wonder why they pull away. They don't want a boy. They want a man who understands the depth of their own desire and isn't afraid to meet it, to lead it, to embody the very essence of masculine strategy. This is where the mental game comes into play. It's not about being overtly aggressive. It's about being congruent, calibrated, and utterly unshakable in your presence. Think of it through the lens of Machiavelli. Just as a wise ruler must understand human nature to govern effectively, you must understand female nature to command attraction. It's not about being cruel, but about being brutally realistic. Women are masters of testing, of prodding, of subtly trying to assess your emotional control. They're not consciously trying to engage in manipulation, but their subconscious will relentlessly test your boundaries, your frame, your true calibrative power. The moment you falter, the moment your respect for yourself diminishes, their interest wanes. To become the high-value man they instinctively crave, you must first acknowledge this primal truth. You must understand that their desire is a profound mirror, reflecting your own inner strength, or lack thereof. They respond to genuine, unyielding strength, to a man who isn't intimidated by their own intensity, but rather, who is amplified by it, a man who holds his frame, who dictates the terms of engagement not through force, but through an unwavering sense of self-worth and purposeful direction. Understanding this voracious truth is only the first step, because once you grasp the nature of their desire, the real challenge begins, wielding that understanding to command genuine attraction, not through cheap tricks, but through embodying an unbreakable internal fortitude. And that leads us directly to the profound art of strategic detachment, not indifference, but the cultivation of an internal state where your happiness, your worth, your very existence are not contingent upon the validation or presence of another. This is the ultimate countermove in the intricate emotional chess of attraction, because the moment you become consumed by the need to get something from a woman, her attention, her affection, her commitment, you've already forfeited the mental game. This desperate pursuit, this palpable thirst, broadcasts a profound internal void. Women, with their highly attuned emotional antennae, detect this neediness like a predator sense fear. It's the most potent antidote to desire, a toxic pheromone that repels rather than attracts. Consider it from a perspective akin to Machiavelli. A ruler who desperately craves the approval of his subjects loses his authority. His power erodes because his dependency is visible. Similarly, a man who desperately needs a woman's affection signals a fatal flaw in his masculine strategy. He reveals a lack of abundance, a scarcity mindset, and fundamentally, a profound lack of emotional control. He's broadcasting, "I am incomplete without you. My happiness rests in your hands." This isn't attraction, it's emotional beggary, and no woman, certainly not a high-quality one, is drawn to a beggar. This isn't about crude manipulation of others, but about the insidious self-manipulation where you sacrifice your own intrinsic value for external validation. You undermine your own respect, not just in her eyes, but in your own. The moment she senses that her presence defines your world, she knows she has all the power, and paradoxically, her interest plummets. Why? Because her primal instinct dictates that a high-value man is self-contained, purposeful, and driven by an internal compass, not by the fickle winds of external approval. He is not defined by who he gets, but by who he is. This desperate energetic signature, this unconscious plea for validation, signifies that you are not operating from a position of strength, but from profound weakness. You are asking, implicitly, for her to fill a void that only you can fill. This isn't about being aloof or cold. It's about being fundamentally independent in your emotional landscape. It's about embodying a reality where her presence enhances your already rich existence, rather than completes a barren one. When you chase, you effectively communicate that you are less than. You communicate a profound lack of self-sufficiency, turning attraction into a transactional burden rather than an organic, mutual pull. This is why the danger of neediness cannot be overstated. It's a fundamental breach of the masculine frame. It's the moment you surrender the field in the psychological warfare of attraction. And once you've surrendered the field, once you've revealed that desperate grip, re-establishing your frame becomes an uphill battle of epic proportions. The subtle art lies not in chasing, but in cultivating an internal state of abundance. This isn't some esoteric concept or feel-good mantra. It's a brutal strategic advantage in the psychological warfare of attraction. When you operate from a place where your emotional well-being is self-generated, where your life is already rich and fulfilling, you project an energetic signature of profound power. Her presence, in this context, becomes an addition, an enhancement, never a desperate necessity. This is the bedrock of true emotional control, a mastery of your inner landscape that makes you impervious to the whims of external validation. You are not a supplicant, you are a sovereign entity. Consider the timeless lessons, perhaps misconstrued by many, drawn from Machiavelli, not as a guide for deceit, but as a cold, clinical understanding of how power operates in human relations. The prince who needs nothing from his subjects holds the ultimate leverage. Similarly, the high-value man who is emotionally self-sufficient, who doesn't anchor his happiness to whether a woman validates him, is the one who truly commands attention and respect. This isn't manipulation in the cheap, deceptive sense. It's a profound self-mastery that allows you to influence without coercion, simply by existing as a complete entity. This detachment from outcome is the ultimate mental game. It communicates that you are the prize, not someone seeking one. This radical self-reliance is the core of an effective masculine strategy. When you embody this abundance, you stop chasing shadows and begin attracting substance. You emit a resonant frequency of self-possession that is fundamentally magnetic. This isn't arrogance, it's an unshakable inner security. The paradox of attraction dictates that the less you appear to need, the more intensely you are desired. This is the apex of influence, where respect is not demanded but naturally bestowed upon a man who clearly defines his own worth. Neediness, conversely, is an Achilles heel, an open wound broadcasting vulnerability that repels like a plague. It's a surrender of your frame, a concession in the emotional chess match. Abundance, on the other hand, is an impenetrable fortress, radiating an aura of self-contained power. It shouts that you are the architect of your own universe, and anyone who enters it is privileged. This fundamental shift in your core mindset transforms every interaction. You are no longer reacting to her moves on the chessboard. You are dictating the terms of engagement. Your actions are deliberate, unburdened by desperate hope or fear of rejection. This isn't about playing games, it's about becoming the game itself. It's about cultivating such a potent internal state that your external reality aligns with your intention. This cultivates a deep, almost instinctual respect when she perceives that her presence is a welcomed enhancement, but never a vital necessity. That you are complete within yourself. That's when you truly seize command of her admiration and her focus. This mastery of internal state sets the stage for the next crucial element in establishing an unshakable masculine frame, understanding the precise application of your newly forged abundance into the theater of social interaction. This isn't about rote techniques or pre-rehearsed lines. Those are the desperate pleas of the foam mindset. Instead, it's about weaponizing your intrinsic enjoyment of life, your genuine delight in the moment. When you genuinely focus on, say, diverta, truly having fun, being present, unburdened by outcomes, you become an irresistible force. This isn't a trick. It's the most sophisticated masculine strategy. It transcends basic attempts at manipulation because it originates from a place of profound authenticity, a wellspring of self-sufficiency. This is where the mental game truly takes shape. You are not engaging to get something from her, a number, a date, validation. You are engaging to share an experience, to amplify the enjoyment of the present moment. This complete absence of neediness is your greatest psychological weapon. It signals an unshakable emotional control. You are sovereign over your own state, and this self-mastery is what demands respect. Machiavelli understood that power is not merely taken, it is perceived, cultivated and held through a nuanced understanding of human nature and desire. Your fun becomes contagious. An invitation to a world where you are the central gravitational force, not a satellite orbiting another's whims. This isn't about chasing, it's about radiating. It's about being so internally fulfilled that your interactions are an overflow, not an attempt to fill a void. When you operate from this position, every conversation, every glance, becomes part of a grander, more exhilarating play. You are not performing for approval. You are simply existing, powerfully, in your own truth. This perspective fundamentally alters her perception of you. She senses the robust inner world you inhabit, the secure frame you carry, and the distinct lack of foam that plagues other men. You become the high-value man, not by declaration, but by undeniable demonstration. This isn't just about attracting women. It's about structuring your entire life around principles of personal power and self-actualization. And once you master this internal shift, the external world begins to reflect it back. The next frontier in this journey involves dissecting the subtle signals of neediness that betray your internal state, transforming what could be a powerful interaction into a desperate plea. Observe the man who constantly seeks validation, fishing for compliments, or checking his phone compulsively for a text. This isn't merely awkward. It's a glaring broadcast of his internal scarcity. His entire demeanor screams, "Please like me. Please approve of me." This lack of self-sufficiency is felt instantly. Women, with their innate radar for emotional authenticity, perceive this as a fundamental deficit in his personal power. His self-worth, rather than being an internal constant, becomes a fragile variable, entirely dependent on her fleeting reactions. This reveals a catastrophic lack of emotional control. When your mood is dictated by external approval, you surrender your sovereignty. Think of it as a form of psychological warfare you are losing against yourself. You're projecting a frame that says, "My happiness is in your hands," which is the antithesis of a high-value man. This manifests further when a man overinvests too quickly, showering excessive compliments, attention, or resources before any genuine reciprocation. This isn't generosity, it's a clumsy, transparent attempt at manipulation, a desperate bid for affection designed to buy her interest. Women instinctively recoil from this. They don't see a thoughtful suitor, they see a weak individual attempting to compensate for his perceived shortcomings, signaling a profound lack of respect for himself and for the natural progression of attraction. Another telltale sign of neediness is the inability to challenge, to disagree, or to maintain one's frame in the face of conflict or disinterest. The needy man fears that any disagreement might jeopardize her attention, so he acquiesces, becoming a yes man devoid of backbone. This emasculates him, robbing him of the masculine strategy to lead, to define the interaction, and to stand firm in his convictions. It screams, "I value your presence more than my own integrity." This surrender of personal power is a huge turnoff. This entire mental game, where your self-esteem is tied to external validation, is a destructive loop. It's an internal battle where the needy man constantly defeats himself. When you exude neediness, you are signaling to a woman that you are not whole on your own, that you require her to complete you. This isn't a romantic ideal, it's a burden. Women are not looking for someone to fix or complete. They are looking for a partner who is already a complete, powerful entity. One who chooses to share his abundance, not one who desperately seeks to fill his voids. The vibration of neediness kills attraction faster than anything else. It's the psychological equivalent of an emotional black hole, drawing energy rather than generating it. It suffocates the space where attraction can breathe and flourish. When you project this need, you inadvertently invite disrespect because you demonstrate that you do not respect your own emotional boundaries or your own time. This fundamental understanding of how neediness broadcasts low value is the first step. The next critical layer involves dissecting the intricate dance of attraction itself, moving beyond the simplistic notion that confidence is just an attitude. True, unshakable sexual confidence isn't born from arrogant bluster or manufactured bravado. It emerges from an internal locus of control, a profound sense of competence. This competence is forged in the crucible of knowledge, a deep, almost clinical understanding of female psychology, desire, and the intricate dynamics of intimacy. Think of it as preparing for a high-stakes negotiation or a complex military operation. General doesn't walk into battle with bravado alone. He studies the terrain, understands the enemy's potential moves, and prepares his strategy with meticulous precision. Similarly, a high-value man doesn't approach intimacy blindly. He invests in understanding the feminine mind, recognizing that female desire is a complex tapestry woven from emotional intelligence, psychological safety, and a nuanced appreciation for masculine strength. This isn't about manipulation in the crude sense, but about mastering the emotional chess game, understanding the rules so you can play effectively, not just react. This isn't about memorizing pickup lines or shallow tricks. This is about cultivating a profound education in what genuinely moves and attracts women. It's about learning the subtle cues, the unspoken language of desire. the very architecture of female pleasure, both emotional and physical. When you possess this profound knowledge, you operate from a position of power. You don't guess, you know, you don't hope, you lead. This competence breeds genuine, unassailable confidence, because it's rooted in verifiable skill, not wishful thinking. It's the ultimate masculine strategy, a strategic mastery of your own internal landscape and an informed understanding of hers. When you understand the nuances of the female psyche, you gain significant emotional control. You can navigate the intricate pathways of intimacy with precision, anticipating needs, recognizing triggers, and responding with deliberate intent rather than reactive desperation. This intelligence allows you to generate respect, not just demand it, because your actions demonstrate a deep understanding of value, both yours and hers. It's the difference between a fumbling amateur and a master craftsman. A man who truly comprehends these dynamics doesn't just get lucky, he engineers desirable outcomes. He understands that the mental game is just as crucial as any physical act. He becomes a student of human nature, perhaps even taking a page from Machiavelli, not to dominate through fear, but to understand the levers of human interaction to foster genuine connection and influence. This isn't about coercion, it's about congruence and capability. The man who truly knows, truly understands, doesn't need to prove anything through arrogance because his competence speaks for itself. He operates from a place of quiet strength. This deep understanding also dismantles the fear of rejection, because his focus shifts from external validation to internal excellence. He knows that his value is inherent, and his ability to connect with a woman flows directly from his informed approach, not from whether she approves of his existence. This shifts the entire dynamic. It transforms vulnerability into strength, because true vulnerability is the courage to be seen, imperfections and all, when you know your core is solid. And this leads us to the crucial distinction between. So, tell me, have you ever felt a subtle shift in a dynamic, perhaps a hint of manipulation, and only much later realized how deeply it affected your emotional control? This isn't just about theory, it's about mastering the mental game. To achieve true power, understanding these dynamics, a modern take on insights even Machiavelli would appreciate, is the core of a truly effective masculine strategy that commands genuine respect and defines the high-value man. To continue unlocking these crucial strategies that most men never discover, ensure you subscribe and activate that notification bell. Next, watch this video on the 7 forbidden secrets that you must never reveal, the warning of Machiavelli to further sharpen your insights. Until then, stay sharp.